I don't even understand anymore because they're like, I mean, I got it at like 7 this morning, but they're like, okay, it's due at 11 tomorrow. And you're like, all right. Welcome to
Parsec Passion, a podcast about Disney Plus TV shows focused on Star Wars. Now we're talking about the Book of Boba Fett. My name's Bubba, and with me, as always, is someone who's getting soft in his old age. It's Catfish. Catfish, how you doing?
Great, Bubba. It is so great to be with a person that I consider pragmatic. And by that, I mean ruthless.
Hell to the yeah. Today, we're breaking down the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 7, In the Name of Honor.
Also known as RESPECT. Find out that it means free fruit.
Heck to the yeah. We're talking about Chapter 7, the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Catfish, let's get right to it. What is your rating out of 10 for Chapter 7?
Bubba, I'm going to give this 9 what everyone known as double R's.
Wait, double R's?
Yeah, rampaging Rancors. I mean, that thing was so badass. There was a lot of good fighting in the whole thing. A spoiler alert for those of you who never finished watching the credits. We got reincarnated Cobb. Going to have a mechanical stomach. Maybe a bunch of mechanical other stuff. It had
9 out
Grogu,
of 10, that's
and
high.
it had the Mando in it. I can't go lower than that. I know I've been hard on some of the Mando episodes, but so excited because I love the Mando so much more than this show. A lot of the problems I had with it, you had with it. You're going to talk about that, but in general, I love this. I loved this season when it became the Mandalorian and Grogu show, and it did. Boba got hijacked by two people far more interesting.
Oh, my goodness. Well, 9 out of 10 is really high.
Mm-hmm. What about
Ready
you,
for
Bubba?
my rating out of 10.
Let's hear it.
Okay, I never do this, but I'm going to start with a preamble where I think you'll know where this is going to go at the end.
Okay, all right. Let's hear it.
If the end of your book, Book of Boba Fett, if the end of your book is going to be a big battle to defeat a villain, you know what, like a lot of chapters in your book should do?
Is it introduce the villain?
Right. Set up why it's important to defeat this villain. Show why the villain is a formidable adversary. Raise the stakes of we've got to beat this villain. We really weren't sure who the villain was until the very penultimate episode, maybe. We didn't know all the villainy they had done. Sure enough, they had killed the Tuskens. We spent a lot of time wondering who the villain was. The show didn't know. Is it the Hutt twins? Who's the bad guy? The Tusken time, in my opinion, didn't really pay off in this final episode. And it could have. There were easy ways you could have paid it off more than Boba using his gaffy stick.
It could have been more emotional for sure.
Yeah.
Also, it appears Fennec could have taken care of this all along.
Right. Master Assassin, right?
Yeah.
You know what? When all is said and done, I like Boba Fett from The Mandalorian, that characterization, more than I like the characterization of Boba Fett in his show, The Book of Boba Fett.
I think I have to agree with you on that.
So I did that huge preamble to say that my rating is 8, what I like to call double G's out of 10.
Oh, double G's?
Double G's. For everybody on YouTube, you see me right now. It's a goofy grin. As this episode wasn't high art, it didn't really feature high drama. But you know what? I had a goofy grin on my face for so much.
Nice.
There's so much fun in this. I really did spend the episode, most of the episode, not all of it, with a smile on my face. Am I going to rate an episode poorly where Boba Fett is riding a Rancor, crushing suckers? I just don't have it in me to rate it harder than this. So 8 out of 10, that's my rating.
Bubba, I think you should bump it up 1.
Oh,
because after everything that happened, I was so worried until I finally saw that the most important thing had survived, and that was the gonk droid.
Gonk, gonk. Right. They're always, they keep on ticking, right? They keep going and going and going. Well, hey, that's our rating. We love to say here on the Parsec Passion podcast, who cares what we think? We want to know what you think. And so we put out these flash polls after every episode. It's only been out a couple hours, so only 44 people have voted. But for this final chapter, 39% of the respondents said it was brilliant.
Ooh.
41% said it was good.
All right, so that's almost 80% that thought it was either brilliant or good.
We had 14% who thought it was fine. Hey, it's fine. And then we did have 7%. So once again, after last week, we didn't have anybody vote fine or poor. This week, we had 7% who said the episode was poor. And I understand people who had trouble with this episode and rated it poor. I'm admitting that a lot of my logical brain went out the window. Boba's riding a Rancor, dude. Let's, it doesn't matter. Like, okay, sure.
It's pretty awesome, even though at times it looked like CGI from the 80s.
Yeah.
Boba riding the Rancor.
It doesn't matter, man. It was fun. Now, I say it didn't matter. Once again, listeners, if you disagreed, we want you to write out and tell us. You can find us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at @PHQ. That's the word double, the single letter P for...
Podcast.
HQ for...
Headquarters.
At PHQ on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/PHQ on YouTube. Give us those thumbs up. Subscribe, follow us. Go down and give us those comments. Tell us what you think, because what you think is what matters. Now, I
thought you were trying to trick me there.
Now, Catfish, one thing that we love to talk about here on this show is to quiz how much violence goes into a Disney Plus show.
Love it.
So it was incredibly difficult to keep track of this, but I did watch and count every time we saw a Pyke either get blasted, and a whole lot of them got blasted, or got eaten, smashed, or stabbed. Do you want to give us a guess real quick how many Pykes, and this doesn't mean, people like Cad Bane, who isn't technically a Pyke, or droids, how many Pykes got blasted, eaten, smashed, or stabbed? Any guess?
Well, Bubba, as you know, I got the guys who were, I forget what they're called, holding the two huts, the conjoined twin huts.
Yep, the litter
I got that
was
right.
carrying
The litter bearers. Thank you very much. Now, this is a higher number, but I'm going to say 39.
Okay. Now, it's possible some of those people who got blasted survived.
It's also possible how many of them were the same person that got blasted already, just in a different mask.
That's true. Okay, so...
if my number's low, that's my excuse.
So how many Pykes got blasted in the episode? By my count, 75.
Wow.
How many got eaten by a Rancor? 1. How many got smashed by a Rancor? 1. How many got stabbed by Fennec Shan? 1 more. So my total is 78. The Syndicate got taken out real good. How about that?
Wow. That is that's higher than I thought. And hey, let's hear it for the kids. Getting shot by a laser blast is one thing, but being hung, that is something altogether different.
All right, I didn't count the mayor's death or the Trandoshans who died.
Right. Those aren't Pykes, but yeah. So
right.
it's a double P, Pykes Plus.
Oh, Disney Plus, keep giving us that awesome violence. Hey, listeners, we're going to dive into this episode and this series, as you know we love to do. But before we do that, we got to do some housekeeping. And because this is the final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, we've got to let you know about some of the podcasts we have upcoming here on the Parsec Passion feed. Catfish.
Yes.
On May 25th, just a few months from now,
that is just a few months from now.
Kenobi will be released.
Oh, now, Bubba, I was not excited for this, but
for Obi-Wan?
For Obi-Wan, but then you told us on the podcast that there was a lot of good buzz surrounding it.
There is great buzz surrounding it.
And the fact that there wasn't great buzz around Boba Fett, if there was great buzz around Boba Fett, I would just say, well, they're always just generating great buzz. But so now I'm excited. Let's do this. Let's Obi-Wan it up.
So if you are subscribing and following, you'll be able to hear us have fun and break down every episode of the 6-episode limited series, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Later on, sometime here in 2022, we're going to have Andor Season 1 coming out. You would imagine that'd be sometime in the fall. And then we believe, hasn't been announced yet, but we believe in December of 2022, Grogu and Mando are going to be back for Season 3.
Heck yeah!
And you guys will be able to get all our podcasts, all our fun on it, as long as you follow and subscribe to the Parsec Passion podcast feed, please.
Yes, come on. What are you waiting for?
Now, we like to say we also cover other shows, but they're on a different feed. So if you're familiar, if you follow us on social media, you'll hear about all the podcasts we do coming up in 2022 on our Double P podcast feeds. We're going to be breaking down Magpie Murders. It's actually coming out tomorrow in the UK, but it won't be in the US for a couple of months, so we're going to be breaking down season 1.
Just released today.
Yes.
On Uhtred's very own page.
Yeah.
The Last Kingdom Season 5 is releasing March 9th, 2022. Now, for that one, we might do a few episodes at a time. We might just do one wrap-up episode. But I'm so excited, and unless I'm wrong, they have decided that there's so much left that they're going to cover all the rest of the books, or at least a bunch, in a follow-up movie.
That's correct. This is going to be the last season of The Last Kingdom, which we're going to be breaking down when it's released on March 9th, 2022. But after this last season, they are going to do a wrap-up movie that'll probably be coming out in 2023.
Oh, it's so exciting. I can't wait to whether it's going to be this season or the movie when Alfred's grandchildren are as old as Uhtred is.
Never. Unaging Uhtred. Guys, we're also going to be back to cover Babylon Berlin Season 4 when it's released, we believe, in June of this year, 2022.
Jawohl.
If you loved our coverage of Netflix's Dark, the producers of that show are making a new mystery science fiction crazy show called 1899. It'll be coming out this year. If you love our good buddy Double M Matt Murdock's music breakdowns, know that he has been covering The Crown, and Season 5 of The Crown will be out this year in November. And he and our good friend Holly Hunt Pants have been covering his Dark Materials. Season 3 of that will be coming out in 2022. Subscribe and follow to the Double P podcast feeds for all those great shows. But Catfish, there's going to be one more show that we know we're going to cover in 2022.
What are we going to cover?
House of the Dragon.
Holy cow. It is the triumphant return of the Joffrey of podcasts. People have been clamoring for this for years.
They have been. And when House of the Dragon is released on HBO Max, we have no idea. It's feeling like it's going to be in the fall of 2022. Subscribe to the podcast feed of the Joffrey Podcast to be able to follow along with us as we break down these evil dragon-riding bastards.
J.O.P., you know they're on the Joffrey Podcast. We've had a lot of it in this show. But on the Joffrey Podcast, we always get cut scenes, cut chapters. I mean, we are... It's almost as if George R. Martin is sitting in both of our laps, making one of us wear a Giants hat and the other one wear a Jets hat.
How could you do that, Railroad Martin? So yes, follow us on social media to keep track of all those shows. There may be some new shows we're tackling as well. So at DoublePHQ on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook.com/DoublePHQ. Follow us. If you've been kind enough to either subscribe or follow this podcast, listeners, we are going to be giving away some Book of Boba Fett t-shirts. We've got 4 great t-shirts, 3 based around Boba Fett, one based around Black Chrysanthemum, and we're going to be giving them to loyal listeners like people like Stephen Jones, Jenny MT, Tammy Reeves, people who have subscribed or followed the podcast and sent us screenshots to prove they follow and subscribe. Catfish has got his magic dice, and he's going to roll a dice. It's going to line up with contestant's name, and if their number gets called, they get a t-shirt. So Catfish, we got 4 to give it. Let's hear it. What do we got?
All right, here we go. The very first t-shirt. Do you want to announce what t-shirt it is?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, 3 are Boba Fett. You'll get one of the 3 Boba Fett t-shirts out of that.
Oh, okay. All right. So the grand prize goes to Black K shirt.
Yeah, the Black K
right?
t-shirt will be our final prize.
Our first winner of a Boba Fett t-shirt is Mara Alice Butler.
Woohoo! Oh, she is a true double L. Mara, you've won one of these great Boba Fett t-shirts. We'll reach out and contact you and get it out to you. Okay, so we got 3 more. What's the next winner,
All right,
Kevin?
3 more. The next winner is, oh my goodness, it is Endless Mike 03, another long-time listener. Holy cow.
Lucky loyal listeners.
Holy cow, that is amazing. All right, and the last winner of the Boba Fett t-shirt is Krail Schrader.
All right.
Or Schroeder.
I think it's Schroeder, but okay, Krail. Hey, congratulations. Woo. 3 wonderful listeners. We got the big Black Chrysanthemum t-shirt to give away.
Oh, the grand prize. Here it is.
Admittedly, not a t-shirt that would fit on him, but it hopefully will fit on you, listeners. Let's hear it.
All right, and this one goes to, oh my God, not only another longtime listener, but I love it because it's going to cost Bubba extra postage. Dooley's left legs.
Oh, man. Dooley always wins, too. Okay. Guys, we love to do these prizes. We'll be giving away prizes when the Obi-Wan Kenobi show breaks on. We ask you to send us screenshots that you follow and subscribe only because certain podcast apps only will highlight our podcast if we have a certain number of subscribers or followers. So thank you guys so much for doing it. And we hope you enjoy these wonderful t-shirts. I think they're awesome.
Oh, they are awesome, but the most awesome is Black K. Actually, they're all pretty awesome, I have to admit.
All righty. So, Catfish, are you ready to dive in to In the Name of Honor?
RESPECT.
Last week, the Sanctuary went boom. R.I.P. Madame Garza. Max Rebo, the blue alien who had been playing his music every time we visited the Sanctuary, suspiciously wasn't there when it blew up. What did Max Rebo know? Was it an inside job, Max Rebo?
Max, he's got a few musicians. They take all kinds of drugs, and he needed money for drugs.
As do I. So,
or helmet cleanings, if you know what I mean.
So we're blowing up in the Sanctuary. Boba's there. Fennec's there. Those love them or hate them mods are there. When who shows up? Mando. And he's like, it's okay, guys. The reinforcements are coming. Trust me, they're coming. Don't worry. I spoke to Cobb Vanth. They're coming.
And the mods argue that they need to stay and protect the town rather than hold up in the palace. It's a little bit of pushback from the mods, those brats. And he's like, you're right. Instead of what he should have done, which was respect them.
And right. Then, well, how about this? What's the right answer? You're Boba Fett. Theoretically, you're a crime boss and you offer businesses protection. But one of the businesses you were offering protection to blew up real good. So do you just give up? And do you think it was right to try to protect the town? Or should he have just gone to the palace and drawn all of the Pykes' forces away from the town so they'd attack him and not destroy the town? What's the right move there, do you think?
What about the third way? Don't you have a ship you can get off planet?
Cut and run. Oh, well, okay.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
That's a good question.
All right, so then they have a discussion because they're like, well, how much is he going to charge us? And he's like, it's free, but we're not really free. You got to give up the spice. Yeah. And Mando, because Cobb wants him to stop the spice trade, and Fennec is like, freedom includes the spice trade on Tatooine.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
now,
but
Boba,
yeah?
Boba, this deadly villain we've been enjoying all these years, suddenly says, hey, kids, say no to drugs. But he's also like, hey, if we this city could be real big, could grow. We've got a population boom that could happen here at Mos Espa, and we can't have the drugs killing our people. So,
I mean, that's not the only problem they're having in Mos Espa. Their other problem is having enough water. So I would say overpopulation would be another serious problem. So in other words, the Pykes have helped to reduce the strain on the water supply here.
Thank you, Pykes.
Yeah, exactly.
What nice guys.
Think of it as an opportunity.
Now, meanwhile, in the other city here on Tatooine, Mos Eisley, one thing that the show we never talk about, but these funny asides, it's really about Cad Bane. He's going to meet with the leaders of the Pykes. But as he's walking to meet with them, we get to focus just a little bit of time on two Jawas stripping somebody's land speeder for parts. They just parked in the wrong place. And these Jawas are like, I could use this. Heck yeah.
Man, Jawa's gonna Jawa, man. You got to keep your eyes out for those guys.
Love it. Yeah, where's my low jack? Where's my land speeder alarm system to make sure these jerks don't strip it for parts?
Man, you got to, electrify that, like the mods,
Heck yeah,
man.
exactly right.
They get a little shock.
Yeah, they're furry. All their hair should stand up on end, and then Belly really gets excited.
Holy cow.
So Cad Bane, our new, almost the face of the villains, just because it feels like the Pykes really aren't the greatest villains. He comes in, he's reporting to this boss. It's so funny. We've seen Mando come in and say, don't worry, I spoke to Cobb Vanth. They're coming. And we're like, well, Cobb Vanth got. And then we see Cad Bane here. He walks in and he's like, don't worry, boss. They're not coming. The people of Freetown, they've been neutralized.
And then we have the, I guess, not shocking revelation that the Pike boss is like, Bane's like, oh, we got to do, Pike's like, is anybody else can come, gonna join them? And Cad's like, well, what about the Tuskens? And they're like, no worries about that, because we were the one that ordered the slaughter of all the Tuskens years ago. They've never come back, and they set it up just so that Boba would think he killed those guys, and it's done. So this was all for an audience of one. And Bubba, I, for one, can respect that. Boba Fett style.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I have of two minds about it. Number one, I think that in the end, it did prove to be a very smart move by the Pykes. Boba did take out that Nikto speed bike gang, and he didn't really retaliate on the Pykes. So it did work for them.
It did. Now, it didn't work for you because... And it didn't work for the audience if we thought this was the real crew, because, as you said, the kill was too impersonal. So, number one, you didn't believe that it was really them. And if you had believed, it would have been like, all right, well, they've been taken care of. That was quick.
You're bringing up a point that I think, and I kind of said it a lot last week. I'm going to say it again this week. Many things happened in these final 2 episodes that should have happened 3 episodes ago, 4 episodes ago. Like, Boba didn't have to learn that it was the Pykes who killed his Tusken family. But imagine if Boba leaves and then the Pykes talk about it amongst themselves. Then we as the audience start hating the Pykes, and we want Boba to take them down. But we don't find out it till the very end. We haven't built up the hatred of the Pykes that is going to make this final defeat of them really pay off. So I think they should have, if they were going to do it, and I think it's fine to do it. It does show the Pykes are pretty smart, but go ahead and reveal it way back when. Reveal it back in episode 3.
Well,
reveal it in episode 4.
I was a little unemotional, I'll say this, about the Tuskens getting slaughtered.
Right.
And I think it was because of we talked about the kind of the split timelines. And I just... Because I liked the modern timeline better, I gave short shrift to the last one, and so I didn't really care too much about the Tuskens. And I feel like if we'd spent more concentrated time with them, that would have landed more with me.
Once again, I keep saying you pushed a lot of this stuff earlier. So there was that one episode where the episode actually ended with Boba getting draped in the Tusken garb and them doing that kind of dance with the gaffy sticks. I think if the episode had continued, and then we saw this was a great victory over the Pike train, but then we saw, oh my goodness, they were slaughtered in that same episode, I think that would have paid off. The episode where we find out that the Tuskens got slaughtered, we hadn't seen them at all in those episodes. We saw kind of Boba leave them, but he didn't have any interaction with them. We didn't see his concern and his caring about them in the episode where he later found out, oh, they've been got. And so maybe if you binge the series, it might pay off a bit better. But on a week-to-week basis, in the episode we found out the Tuskens got God, it didn't hit as hard as it should have. Now, I want to point out this alien, who they didn't even mention his name in the last episode, but his name is Cad Bane, this awesome Western character. The alien species is known as a Duros. And what's fun is this species was first seen, these type of aliens were first seen in Star Wars A New Hope back in 1977. And so the animated show used them to base this villain around. And now he's in live action. It goes full circle. It rhymes like poetry. What do you think about this alien compared to how they looked back in 77, Catfish? I have this picture of him. You like that look of him?
I see it. I mean, compared to them, I would say Cad Bane has had a lot of work done.
Hey, no.
Now, I'm not going to say it was bad work. I mean, certainly not. Okay. Certainly not to Cad Bane's, I mean, would you call that a face, I guess? No. The mayor,
Terrible.
What I love here is the mayor is squeamish about the cost of the war, about the casino being blown up.
Right.
Wait until he sees what a Rancor rampage does to the town. So Cad Bane's like, don't worry about it. I'm going to draw out Boba Fett. There will be no more property damage, Mayor.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw him out because he's weak-minded and weak-willed.
What I love about this characterization of the mayor is it really works that he and his major domo would be a great team. You really see how they would work together real good. I love it.
Oh, man. Yeah, they're both very squirrely.
But while we're here in Mos Eisley, whose shop, whose hangar is in Mos Eisley? But Pelimoto's. And who drops down but an X-Wing drops down? And you're thinking, or I'm thinking, here we go, digital Luke Skywalker, even more. This is crazy. And it was so early in the episode. Like the end of last episode, we had to think, ooh, is Grogu going to choose chainmail or choose a lightsaber? Real quickly, we got our answer, didn't we?
Yeah. Grogu likes the finery. He likes to look sharp.
He does. And once again, I love these little moments. Even in a poor episode, the Star Wars TV shows have been doing these little moments great. The X-Wing is coming in, and Peli thinks, uh-oh, it's the cops. Droids, hide the illegal stuff. Hide that. Move that out of the way. Oh, officer, I was just going to renew my license. Oh,
just as you were coming in, I renewed it. What a coincidence. But it's with Grogu. And I thought, is Grogu flying this thing already?
Hell yeah.
He has learned a lot already. But it turned out it was actually R2 who piloted it. Grogu just went along for the ride. In fact, if R2 knew it was smart with him, he would have disabled all controls in that cockpit. Because Grogu cannot stop fiddling with things.
Grogu would have never exited Lightspeed. Like, they would have gone, okay, let's go visit the Mando Lightspeed. And R2, beep, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop. Exit Lightspeed, Grogu. No thanks. So speaking of Grogu, Catfish, this was believe it or not, these were the first episodes of Star Wars TV that were written after the public had seen episodes of Star Wars TV.
Wow.
Think about that. So they wrote the first season of The Mandalorian. Nobody had seen it yet. They wrote the second season and started making it before the first season had been released. So this is the first episodes that have been written after people have watched some of Star Wars TV. And so they were able to slip in this line of Pelimoto saying, Grogu, that's a terrible name.
No, hold on a second. Somebody whose name is Pelimoto, who likes furries, is saying that Grogu is a terrible name?
Yeah, that's rough. They've been leaking things of how George Lucas, the creator, was there. They told him the name Grogu, and he goes, oh, that's a terrible name. He hated it.
Oh, my goodness. That must be great. Well, I mean, they gave him then he agrees with Pelimoto. So they're saying two things. Number one, George Lucas looks as good as Pelimoto, and number two, George Lucas also likes furries.
Oh, but you could tell. You could tell.
Well, you know what? Grogu likes some dung worms. He gets some dung worms. He slurps those things up good.
Yeah, I don't think his flight had a meal service in it.
So, if it would have, he would have vomited all over that.
Right. Because this is so early in the episode, let's talk about it now. They reveal that Grogu chose the chainmail and that Grogu can't go to Jedi school. Does this reveal cheapen The Mandalorian? Season 2 of The Mandalorian. At the end of Season 1 of The Mandalorian, he's told, you've got to get Grogu back to his people. He spends all of Season 2 looking for Grogu's kind, the Jedi, and then he hands Grogu off, and there's this teary, emotional goodbye. That's how Season 2 ends. When Season 3 of The Mandalorian begins, they're going to be back together in a new spaceship going off on new adventures. Does this cheapen the end of Season 2 and a lot of the work The Mandalorian had done by bringing them back so quickly together? What do you think?
Well, it might have if we just gotten a little bit of Mandalorian and Grogu in this. But since this is the Mandalorian Season 2.5, Season 2.5 was them apart. And Bubba, you are out of your flippin' mind if you thought they were going to keep the Mandalorian and Grogu apart for Season 3. Look, you sold me on it last week that it would be a good idea to have them have a separate, their separate adventures, then come back together like high school lovers. No, you are completely wrong.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, he's already been absent enough from both the Mando's life and our life.
Oh, man. Listeners, we want to know what you think. How do you feel about Grogu and Mando coming back together? I think we're all happy that it happened, but do you feel it happened too quickly? Twitter, Instagram, @PHQ, Facebook.com/PHQ, YouTube, leave those comments. Start a fight on YouTube. Tell us what you think. I'm glad they're back together. I just think it happened way too quick.
No, wrong. All right, so while Grogu is eating, we flash back to the group, and they are making plans. Fennec's like, I got this person posted here. You know, the mods are always cleaning the streets, you know, because they got their bikes. They can do it real fast.
Right.
And she may be a master assassin, but her defense skills are a little lacking because it's so fast it's almost humorous where she's like, no one could sneak in.
Excuse me, sir. Someone's here to sneak in.
Oh, my goodness. And plus, it's Cad Bane. Now, listen.
Yeah.
Cad Bane is hard to miss.
You think?
Also, he doesn't have the personality of someone who slinks. He is going to walk right up to your front door and knock on it. He is not effing around.
Oh, man, we need those people from Freetown here to help us stop this guy coming in. Now, Boba, we're trying to build up some animosity between our villain Cad Bane and our hero Boba Fett. Boba Fett, I thought I smelled something outside in the sanctuary. Cad Bane and Boba have their first stand down.
Yeah.
And they each flanked by shooters. And Cad lets Fett know that, what does he say? Cobb has been delayed. Oh, so good.
Perhaps permanently.
Love it. And Boba's like, listen, you are older, but I'm still a quicker draw. But Boba, after all this, he says, you know, I only want to negotiate with the Pike boss. But Bane is trying to bait him. He's like, listen, you know what? You mean the Pike boss who killed your Tusken family? Remember how everybody said it was very unlikely that the other people, that the Nick-2 bike gang did it? And then Boba, he's tempted. He's so angry. He wants to start firing. But Fennec calms him down. This is what I say, very Jedi-like. If you start firing now, you'll have too much emotion running through you, Boba. Just chill. Cool, Boba. Crazy Boba. Get cool, Boba. Hey, Best Picture nominee, West Side Story. There we go. Should Boba have just started blasting once he found out that these jerk Pikes killed his Tusken family?
Sure, why not? I think if he sends Pike home, these guys are going to be scared, especially the other leaders the leaders of the other groups who are staying out of this.
Oh man. So I think this next section might be my favorite section of all. So it's like, okay, we got the mods working the Aqualish district, Black Chrysantan monitoring the Trandoshan territory, Gamorrean guards. You're there at the starport, and then it's like, wait a minute. The one mod is over the transmitter. Something's not right here. Something's not right here. We had just had that scene earlier. So this is about setup and payoff. That the show, it didn't do enough of this, but this is a great setup. Boba Fett's like, all I ask is don't get involved. Everybody's like, I agree. And very quickly we learn they're all backstabbing him. They all have gotten involved. And holy smokes, it is turncoat theater for all of Boba's crew. I love this moment. Hell to the yeah.
It's a trap.
It is a trap. It's a total trap. And oh my God, traps have to have consequences. Betrayals have to have consequences. And we've all, you know, I hate to say it like this, but when Black K takes an axe to his shoulder and is tackled by like 10 Trandoshans, when the Gamorrean guards show us the pigs fly straight down. Oh my God, that was great.
It's going to be bacon for breakfast, but it's going to be very thin strips.
Oh my goodness, I just loved this betrayal. I thought, well, maybe one group would betray, but every group betraying, every group going with the Pikes, wonderful.
Holy cow. And Fennec shows up. She is the one who's going to take care. She's going to take care of everybody. She's going to fix all the problems. She's the master assassin. She could have done this 4 episodes ago, just slunk around and killed everybody. But she's going to do it now. She saves the mods. They say thanks. Fennec, she's going to smart ass to them after they say thanks.
Yeah, she says manners. I like it. You're welcome. Zoom. Robert Rodriguez, the director, he does certain things great, but like after Fennec saves the mods, she doesn't just jump down from the top of the building down to where her speeder bike is.
No, she's got to do a flip,
She's
man.
got to do a flip. What?
The flip is so good. And then, all right, so here we are back with Boba. The Pikes show up.
Yep.
Mando's like, well, I guess no one's coming. And then Boba's like, well, all right, you should get out of here. But Mando says, no, I'm going to stick around. It's part of his creed. He made a promise. Now, Bubba, didn't he get kicked out of his special triumvirate tribe?
Right. You're a Mandalorian no more.
All
but
right,
still follow
well,
the creed.
Yeah, no. I say when your creed abandons you, you abandon it. I would have been like Mando. I'd have been like, thanks. Hey, Mando should have said, hey, remember when I told you later to find a ship and get out of here?
You're right.
Smartest
How
move.
about Boba? Boba tells Mando, I can't abandon Mos Espa. These people are counting on me. Who? Who's counting on you? Was it Madame Garza? She's dead.
She might be the only one who is counting on him. Stephen Root's not counting on him.
No. He wants to charge way too much for this water is too damn high.
Oh, man. So the rent and the water is too damn high. Now we got a nice little humorous section here.
Love the mayor's major domo.
Mayor's
So
major
good.
domo. He talks about he was educated on Coruscant, but that doesn't mean he thinks he's better than you.
No. But he wants you to know he was educated on
He
Coruscant.
was. And then he knows he knows the ins and outs of a negotiation. Boba's like, oh, all right, here are the terms. Writes them down. Very, very funny bit.
He goes out there. And how about the Pike? The Pike is talking trash to the major domo. Read it to me, tailhead.
Oh my God. And he says the terms are nothing. But then he says, then he's reading more. He says, if you refuse these terms, the arid sands of Tatooine will once again flourish with flowered fields fertilized with the bodies of your dead. And then the majordomo says, his words.
Oh, so good. Oh, so good. And right when you think these Pikes are like, to hell with this, they're going to kill this poor sap, the major domo, suddenly Mando and Boba remember they have jetpacks and they fly
Yay!
up and the slaughter of the Pikes is on. Hell to the yeah.
Oh my God. Bubba, I got one word for you.
One word, okay.
Knee rockets. Wait, 2 words. I have 2 words for you.
Yeah.
Boba's knee rockets.
Hey, wait a minute. I got 4 words for you.
Tell me.
Whistling birds.
Nice.
Why doesn't
they?
the Mando always use those whistling birds? I mean, there are only so many of them, but they just fly and take out your enemy. They're so good. You don't have to aim. They just go and take them out. I mean, come on. Boba and Mando, they're doing a great job. But these Pikes, as I pointed out, when 75 of them are going to get blasted, they just keep coming and coming and coming. So it's one of these classic
They don't
things.
stop. But they won't stop.
This is a Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. They're surrounded. They've got no way out. They've got no way out. But who shows up? The people of Freetown.
Oh, my goodness. They've all shown up. Why?
That's a great question. But before we get that, what were the Transoceans told by Boba? Just stay neutral. Just stay neutral. They didn't. What did Boba ask the Aqualish? Stay neutral. They did it. What did he ask the Klatoans? Stay neutral. They did it. What did Cad Bane ask the people of Freetown to do?
Stay neutral.
Nobody stayed neutral. Take that, Switzerland.
Switzerland is basking in money and ski slopes. They don't care for your scorn.
Okay.
Holy cow. They show up. They say they're here because, you know what? The reverse. Cad Bane's evil plan backfired on him.
Yep.
Because what did they say? He was like, he cowardly shot Cobb Vanth. It didn't seem cowardly to me. It seemed like a real fair fight. In fact, it was 2-on-1. But anyway, they're
That
like,
coward.
boo, the cowardly gunned down Cobb Vanth fair and square. So we're here.
I love it. I also love there's this odd moment because the mods show back up and the mods are like the city folk fighting with the country folk. But guys, Boba's like, save it for the Pikes.
And one of them gets blasted off his bike. He's going to need 2 things, Bubba.
What's that?
Another bike and more mods.
Oh, man. Yeah, the
Black
mods
K shows
got
up.
mod.
He gets offered a back-to-bath.
Oh, man. I loved that Black K showed back up. You know,
man.
he
You knew he
looked
wasn't
really,
going down.
he looked really screwed. And even when he showed up again, he got blasted a bunch. But when this wet Wookiee showed up from his, well, he's not a wet Wookiee yet. He's going to jump in the back of bath. But when he showed up, that was another oh hell yeah moment for me. So once again, logic is out the window. When a giant Wookiee is beating suckers up and surviving against all odds, it works for me.
I love it. But so everything is going their way. And
Of
then
course.
what happens? These giant Scorpionic Annihilator droids stomp onto the scene. And Bubba, there's some good things and bad things about these droids. The bad thing from an opponent point of view is that they have energy shields.
Okay, well, what's the good thing from an opponent point of view?
They can't seem to hit anybody even if they're 4 feet away from them.
They move
which
real
they
slow,
are
too.
several times. Mando, Boba, and they can't even kill fleeing civilians, Bubba. I mean, these things.
It's too hard.
All right.
But how about this?
Yeah.
If I'm the Pykes and I've got these awesome scorpion neck droids, why did I not start with them? Like literally a bunch of my buddies, my fellow Pykes got shot. I could have started with scorpion neck droids, right? Like start with overwhelming force.
But here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Is that a lot of the guys working for them are kind of older, so they're close to retirement age. They're going to get a pension and everything.
Oh, we can't
and
have
they're
that.
just like, this is the way to clear out some of the older dead weight. We'll send them in first.
Got to protect our margins. Good work, Pykes. Way to...
Life is cheap, Bubba, and droids are expensive. Do you know how much it costs to power those shields?
I have no idea how much it costs. But those
like
shields...
10 spice. I don't even know. We'll just say we won't even just 10 spice.
Well, how
That's
about
a lot of
this?
spice. Yeah.
Why doesn't everybody have these shields? These shields are great. They make blasters useless. Boba even fires that missile on his back at him. Huge explosion. The screen is covered with clouds. But these droids have not been destroyed. They're going to keep marching on. Heck, you can't even put a darksaber through the shield. Everybody needs a shield. That's a shield in every kitchen. That's going to be my motto to run the new. They need a new mayor. That's my mayor's campaign.
So expensive, this shield.
Oh, come on.
10 spice.
Boba and Din, they keep trying. I don't know why they keep trying, but they do keep trying. Well, I guess one thing they're trying to do is distract the droids from the fleeing townfolk. They keep firing at it, knowing that their weapons are useless. Boba's had enough, and so he flies off. I wonder where he could be flying to, says no one.
Yes, it is obviously, Bubba, the Rancor is Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's blaster, yeah.
It's Chekhov's Rancor. When you show him in episode 3, was it episode 3 or episode 4? Then he's got to be there at the end. The minute we saw him, we knew he was going to be in this final episode.
I loved it. You know what? We talk about Black K. He doesn't have enough to do. But Black K sees a giant murder droid with a big shield. He don't give no cares. He's going to turn on his electric knuckles, and he's trying to get through. And then the droid kicks him away. So good. Black K took a lot of L's in this episode. He got beat up real good, but Black K's my boy. I like him.
Oh, man. You know who also takes some L's, but possibly finds a love interest in this episode?
Oh, no. Here we go.
It's Pelimoto, who shows up in his droid-led rickshaw, and she ends up getting chased, and Mando jumps on the back. He's getting a double R.
Wait, double R?
A rickshaw ride. Sorry, triple R.
Triple R?
Yeah, Rectronic rickshaw ride, and Grogu sees Mando and jumps into his arms, and Mando's like, "Oh my God! Oh, you're wearing the shirt I got you. You really do like it."
Mando is a good dad. Did you love that jump of Grogu into Mando's arm? They're going for heartstrings here. They're trying to get everybody to really feel this emotional bond between.
They got it. You can't keep these two apart.
Hey, you got to keep them apart because we got a damn giant droid attacking us. I forget what actually happened. It wasn't actually the droid that did this. Is that something destroyed the rickshaw droid?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was Grogu by mistake or just overrun because she's like, mush. But he fizzles out. The cart gets upended.
Yep.
Mando turns on the jetpacks. Slow motion saves Grogu. He's like, Peli, you're fine. Peli hits the ground. Oh, man.
She
on
lost
her
a
butt.
tooth.
You know what?
He saves Grogu any pain, and that's good. But your best friend is falling, and you're like, she can handle it. She's a 50-year-old human. She can take that.
His best friend is his best and only friend is Grogu.
Apparently,
Peli, you gotta take care of business for yourself. I mean, again, even without her tooth, she seemed to do pretty well this episode. And losing the tooth doesn't make her look any worse.
No, terrible. Hashtag terrible.
My God. And once again, the Scorpionic is 4 feet in front of them and can't hit them.
No.
Oh my God. And then what happens?
Once again, when it looks like our heroes are in the worst bit of trouble,
They are.
you have to have somebody show up. And who shows up? It is the Rancor. Boba's riding him. He's got his chains linked to a nose ring, so this poor Rancor is being led around by people yanking on its nose. Oh my goodness gracious. This is, once again, this is not high art. This is not high drama. But when you've got a Rancor beating up on a giant droid, this is so much fun. I love it. And I love the Rancors. You could tell the Rancor, he's got a bad attitude. I loved it.
Oh, man, that Rancor is really, really upset.
And these droids take a while. Like, so the Rancor, at one point, the Rancor is like really attacking the droid from one side. And so they're trying to give you visual clues that the droid is having to put a lot of the shield on that side. You know, it's on its front side. And so the back side of the shield isn't as protected. And Mando uses that moment to sneak in and use the Darksaber to cut off one of its legs. I think it cut off. But even that didn't stop it. Like, it took a lot to destroy these droids.
Oh, hell yeah. Really, it just took a lot of brute force to really just pound their shield into them. But at one point, Mando is pinned down by the first Scorpionic. And then what happens?
Grogu Ex Machina shows up. He's going to use the Force to yank out one simple bolt of this damn droid, and it topples over. Grogu is Grogu too powerful that he could just come in and always save the day? Because he's going to do it again in this episode.
Well, here's the thing. You know, we've seen him use it a few times on some powerful beings, but it's just really kind of out of protection. But it seems a little bit more sophisticated here than it has been in the past. In other words, he takes the bolt out, presumably not because he wants to play with it, but to sort of disassemble it. And then we'll talk about what he does later. Seems like a real sophisticated attack on something.
Right. When we first met Grogu in the second, and really got to spend time with him in the second episode of The Mandalorian Season 1, that's when the Mudhorn battle was. And that, you're right, it almost seemed instinctual, like there wasn't a lot of thought put into it. But Grogu is, Grogu does put thought into these attacks that he uses in this. So I love it. And the Rancor now able to get the upper hand, and it takes its like thumbnail and shoves it right into the droid's eye. Love it.
Bubba, I mean, the Rancor is just going through this town. I mean, the mayor expressed concern earlier to Cad that, like, I want to have a town to go back to, but this town is going to need a lot of remodeling. The Rancor has no concern about private property.
Right. FEMA's going to see Mos Espa and just say, we give up.
Oh, man.
But hey, the Rancor, it's destroying the town, but not through fear, but with respect.
Well, that's important as long as he does that. But, we need to learn another thing. The Rancor is like Frankenstein. Fire, fire. Must run away. Fire. And this is really surprising.
Right. It's surprising, but it's also there to demonstrate that this, late introduced bad guy, Cad Bane, he didn't hesitate at all. Like, he literally just walked up to the Rancor and said, I've had enough of this. I'm going to light you on fire and you'll shut up. Cad Bane is one bad mother.
Just shut your mouth.
Just talking about Cad Bane.
Well, and of course, the main reason why this is happening is because the Rancor can't take care of everything. The Rancor just needs to slightly swing the tide, because what we really need is a showdown between the third best character in the Book of Boba Fett and the 12th best character in the Boba Fett. Of course, when I say third, I mean Cad Bane, and when I say 12th, I mean Boba Fett.
Okay, just so I am clear, where do you have Black K in this list of best characters in Book of Boba Fett?
4.
Okay, where do you have the Mod Street Gang?
They're 11, right above Boba Fett.
Oh, how could you? No, I could accept a lot of things, but I can't accept that.
Mayor's Majordromo 5.
Yeah,
Mando
he's
1. Grogu 2.
Oh, here we go. Listeners, what is your ranking for the characters in the Book of Boba Fett? This is great. But yeah, we do need this quick draw. He hasn't been in this show long, but they keep trying to set up Cad Bane as the ultimate badass. Boba's like, yeah, you might be a quicker draw, but guess what? I've got my armor. Cad Bane doesn't care. He sees those holes in the armor, and he gets the jump on him, and he hits him once, Boba's down. Boba shoots off his flamethrower. Cad Bane just does a quick tumble out of the way and fires and hits Boba again. Cad Bane is good.
He is also not a cheater the way Boba is. He lets Boba keep his armor. Boba's using fire. Cad's just like, I'm going to do this mano a mano, and he's going to remind him that Cad Bane got all the good jobs and Boba got the scraps.
Oh, this is some trash talking. He's standing over Boba. For everybody in Star Wars parlance, he's got the high ground. Boba's laying on the ground. He kicks or takes Boba's helmet off because he's like, I want to see your face as I kill you.
I love
it.
But his one mistake was he monologues him too much.
Oh, always a villain mistake. You can monologue after you shoot him.
Yep.
Well, no, they won't hear the monologue. I guess you do.
No, it's all right.
You shoot him. You should give him a non-fatal shot.
right.
So you can monologue for a bit.
Disarm him first. No, Boba uses his gaffy stick.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh man, this is so amazing. He drives it into Bane, and then he monologues him a little bit before he appears. Bubba, this cannot be true. Is my third favorite character on the Book of Boba Fett dead? Is Cad Bane an amazing villain dead? Is he going to be dragged off to another back-to-bath?
Catfish. Mm-hmm. These are great questions. We've seen people take it worse than this gaffy stick, to the heart, but that's where a human heart is. Who knows where his vital organs are? But you're right. Cad Bane, already your third favorite character. He's barely been in this show. He had one scene in episode 6. He has a lot of scenes here in episode 7. And to kill off such a great villain, this is right up there with in The Phantom Menace, they killed off Darth Maul after one movie. Even though he was so good, he was such a great villain, the animated shows brought him back to life so he could still do stuff. And then he ended up appearing in Solo, a Star Wars story, because he was such a great villain. The show wants us to think he's dead. He should be dead, but this series in Star Wars as a whole needs great villains. So maybe you bring him back. What do you think?
So good. He's got to come back. Look, if he never comes back, I'm going to be very upset about who lived and who died in this transaction.
Yeah, that's true. Not enough mods. We need those mods to take a few more.
No, down with
hits.
Boba, up with Cad Bane.
Oh, brother.
Oh, man, okay, so everything's fine, right?
No, Catfish, no.
Oh.
The Rancor, which was being controlled by Boba, is now been spooked by these flames, and it's gone rampage. It's a mixture of Godzilla, and you think it's Godzilla destroying a city, but then it starts climbing up a tower like it's King Kong.
It is completely destroying the biggest building in town. Bubba, when I thought of this, I thought, Boba might have to change his mind about the spice trade. He really needs some money now to rebuild this town.
The Build Back Better through spice.
Yeah, exactly. Say yes to structural improvements. Get us a new clock tower.
Infrastructure is infrastructure. Let's do it.
Hell yes.
All right, so the Rancor is destroying things. Mando, always the hero, he thinks he can stop it. He tries to ride it. That don't work. And for trying to ride it, the Rancor smashes the living hell out of Mando, and then it's going to take a bite out of Beskar. But it can't. It's crushing his head. I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head.
Okay, now, I believe that it couldn't crush his helmet. I still believe that even if the Beskar suit wasn't going to crush, he could have crushed him inside the Beskar suit. In other words, it could have just been all Beskar and goo left.
It has crushed it. It's tried to eat him. It throws Mando. He takes a bad fall down to the street. The Rancor is going to go crazy. There's only one person, one character on your list of the top characters who's going to be able to tame the Savage Beast.
Is it Pelimoto?
That's right. And the Savage Beast is the Major Domo who
nice
they're doing
tale.
some little flirting there. And
Yeah.
I always love to point out that Chicago Improv, I love to tell this story. I was at Chicago Improv in the late 90s. And who was in Chicago Improv kind of before I moved to Chicago? Well, people like Dave Pasquesi and Amy Sedaris, who are Pelimoto and the Major Domo. But also, who was there? Series creator Jon Favreau. They were all there in Chicago doing improv. I'm sure all these people were old friends. from the early 90s. And, of course, by the time I moved to Chicago, they were gone, and I really couldn't hang with them. Thanks for nothing.
Well, you know who you could hang with, even though you didn't want him in this series, with Grogu, who uses his Force.
Yep.
He steps in front, step, 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 shuffle, and he lulls the beast into a nap. You know, whenever we've seen Grogu use the Force once, he's always taken a nap afterwards, but he got to do it twice this time, so maybe that means that he is getting stronger.
Luke taught him well.
Luke did teach him well. Look, teach a man, give a man a swamp full of frogs, and give a Grogu a swamp full of frogs that he only eats for one day. Teach him how to get a swamp full of frogs that he eats for the rest of his life. Grogu cuddles up next to the beast. He is adorable. But now, Bubba, a lot of people have seen this now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was sort of, kind of under wraps. So I feel like word is going to get around.
Well, let's talk about this. So we know that nobody saw Grogu use the Force against the Mudhorn. We know that some Imperial remnant people, like Moff Gideon, obviously know of Grogu's capabilities. What are some other times Grogu's used the Force and helped people? Like, did he use the Force? This is tricky.
I thought Carl Weathers knew that he used
when he was injured, and Grogu healed him using the Force healing. So, if you're right, a very small number of civilians, still a small number of civilians, but the more,
mayor's,
you're right.
The mayor's major domo. I mean, you hear something like that, and that could bring, there are like the big bad guys, but also there's a lot of people who would be like, well, that's worth something. So there might be a lot of nuisance treasure hunters now trying to come down and get Grogu.
Wouldn't you?
Hell yes.
I mean, of course you would want Grogu. We got to clean up this story about the crime lord. So back in Mos Eisley, we have the Trandoshans, the Aqualicious, the Clatoians, the mayors there. We have the leader of the Pykes, and they realize they are screwed.
Oh, man. They were once the Double Ps.
Double Ps.
Yeah, powerful Pykes. And now they're turning into the Triple Ps.
Wait, Triple Ps?
Yeah, the planet Peace Out Pykes. Right. They go on. They're like, all right, well, this was good. And the Slee Stack growls, we had a deal. And they're like, yeah, our deal was for a peaceful planet. This is not a peaceful planet. Thanks for letting us trim all the dead weight off of our staff, but we're out of here.
And so suddenly, all the villains in this one layer, a bunch are getting blasted. Where's it coming from? Where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? Then you suddenly see the mayor. He's this big, a hammerhead type creature. A noose slips around his throat and pulls him up, and his feet are dangling there. Oh, man, Disney Plus violence. I love it. This was the best kill. Holy smokes.
Holy smokes. And you know what? This just showed me something, and I don't know why I didn't think about this before. In this tent here, Fennec treated everyone with the utmost respect.
Oh.
And she should. I'm not thinking she's the one who has the stones to be the boss. She should be boss.
How about this? She could have ended this series with 4 episodes.
Yes, she's
That's
a master
how powerful
assassin.
She is.
Yes, she could have.
Okay, so hey, it's a happy ending. In the aftermath, Boba is strolling the streets of Mos Espa, and everybody's wanting to give him a little salute and a bow.
Oh my God! And then we did get the return of the trash droid, aka the gong droid, just to know that it survives. And Bubba, I don't know if you noticed this, but it was very strange here. So Boba's strolling through the town, and we have like a medieval fair music going on. This is a Western. I don't understand where the medieval fair is. Guys, wrong genre. Now, someone offers Boba fruit. And
of course, he's the boss.
Fennec does not. This is even more proof that she should be the boss. However, Boba is smart enough to give it to Black K instead. I'm not eating this. The mods want it. But Boba says the Bacta tank is being used. But Bubba, I'm like, earlier in the episode, he said, I'm going to have to get Black K to the Bacta tank. But Black K is right here. And I'm thinking, did they modify the Bacta tank for the Rancor?
Yeah, the Rancor took some slices from the droid, stick it in the Bacta tank. Well, how about this, Catfish? The answer to that also might be the answer to this question, where Boba did all this, taking over Mos Espa, and he realizes real quickly, Fennec, we are not suited for this. Fennec, if not us, then who? Well, maybe it's the answers in a bacta tank.
Holy cow. I would have said, if I was Fennec, I would have said, you're not, and then just blasted Boba. It's their master plan all along.
Okay.
Let Boba take all the heat. She does all the kills, and then she's not the power behind the throne, but the power on the throne.
Now, this is the Book of Boba Fett, but the actual last shot before credits, once again, doesn't feature Boba Fett. It features our boy Mando and Grogu in the bubble, in the old astromech droid bubble that they've created in this Naboo starfighter. How does sound travel in the Naboo? This is in space. Grogu is tapping on the window with his favorite little shiny metal knob from the Razor Crest.
And he's steaming up the glass, which is hilarious. Well, you know what? This is the thing I thought when I originally saw this starfighter. It's like, Grogu wants to be like right there with him. Now, it's probably safer that he's not there because he can't control the controls. Although, he could use the Force and flip that switch. But he is double G.
Double G?
Yeah, go fast, Grogu.
That's all he cares about.
He loves it. Oh, my God.
Yeah, what car would Grogu drive? A Tesla model, with a Tesla Plaid Model S with a ludicrous mode or something? That's what he'd love.
It might be a Mustang because he likes to hear the rumble. You don't hear the rumble in a Tesla.
So the credits roll. And who is in Boba's bacta?
Who?
It's Cobb Vanth.
Dead Cobb Vanth?
Dead, but guess what? Just like Fennec Shand was dead, we see the mod parlor boss hovering over. He's going to get to Bride. He's going to get busy taking care of Cobb.
Oh, man. So like in The Princess Bride, he was only mostly dead.
Hey. And so that's it. That's the episode. That's the season. What did you gave 9 out of 10. Do you want to give a rating to the season as a whole, Catfish?
I think my ratings reflected the season with Mando and Grogu and without. So I was like, I think a solid 7 for the first 4 and 9 or 10 for the last 3. Okay. I can't separate it because, like you said, I don't know how anybody could disagree that the show got hijacked by Mando and Grogu for the last 3 episodes.
No, it feels very much like Jon Favreau had a bunch of things he wanted to do and he was interested in, and he never found the right mix of how they all go together, because this is just an odd flow to the season, a lot of great things in it. But I'm with you, an odd flow to it. I gave most episodes at the very beginning, I gave like the first 4, I think 7. So I'll probably give the series as a whole a 7.5 or an 8, just because it really did pick up. And there were moments, even in some of in the episodes I've rated harsher, that were great. And so 7.5 for me for the season.
All right.
Listeners, what do you think? How do you grade the Book of Boba Fett? We keep asking, hey, the T-shirts we've given away, but we still actually really want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts. It's at PHQ on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.com/PHQ. If you're on YouTube, we love comments. Go down there, give us a comment, what you think. Tell us if you think we're completely nuts in our ratings and thoughts on the episode. We are open to everybody's opinion because everybody's opinion is valid.
Yeah, except mine is more valid than yours.
Just one more valid. It's the end of this, so you know what we do at the end of every episode, Catfish? We play our games.
Oh, man, all right. It's the Bounty Hunter Guild Battle. Who wins the puck? Mm-hmm. Today is sort of a bifurcated question.
Okay.
Debate. Do you think there will be / should be a season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett?
No, Catfish, we're asking this question because people who worked on the show, people who were part of the production crew of putting this show together, when you work on a production crew, you get all sorts of swag. And the T-shirts and swag they got all said the Book of Boba Fett Season 1, implying that this wasn't just a one-off, that this was an ongoing show, that there'd be a Season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett. And so our Bounty Hunter Guild battle is, like you said, a 2-parter. Do you think there will be a Season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett? And do you think there should be a Season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett? Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. I'll say first, should there be a season 2? Not unless they come up with a really good reason for it. I mean, this was sort of you sort of indicated at the end when he's like, we're not built for this. Well, then again, like, why did you go through all of it? So
Yeah.
I don't. Would they have him go on do different adventures? It seems like kind of a waste. Yet also, it seems like what kind of excitement could they have here? The Pykes are gone.
Right.
I mean, maybe we could see the Fett twins again. They were
Hutt twins,
awesome.
yeah.
The Hutt twins. Sorry, the Hutt twins again. I wasn't super stoked for this show. There was a lot of backstory that I didn't really care for. So I don't think there should be, but I think there will be a season 2.
Ooh, okay. Why do you think there will be? You think Disney just says we got to keep putting out content? What's the thought process there?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's interesting. Well, I mean, Disney has not. Well, I mean, Disney would be more likely, it seems to me, to not feel the need to keep doing seasons, but it does feel like they want to do more seasons. I mean, I don't know. Do you think that some of their Marvel shows will come back for a second season? You know,
the only one we know so far that's coming back for a second season is Loki. That's a good point. A lot of those are just one-offs.
Right. I mean, the Green Arrow series told a complete story, and to me, like, set up the next Black Widow, and they're all set there. And again, here it's like, I don't know. They didn't excite me enough to make me want a second season.
No problem. You threw me for a loop by saying the Green Arrow when I think you meant Hawkeye.
I meant Hawkeye. Yes, sorry.
Okay, well, here, let me take a swing at answering this question.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a two-parter. Should there be a season 2? I don't have anything to debate with your answer about, yes, if you have a great story, there should be. But there's also a part of me that thinks that one thing that George Lucas, we all love George Lucas, the maker, did, but one thing he really did, especially on the prequels, where if he had something that the audience reacted negatively to, he just changed it. So Jar Jar Binks, a very divisive character from The Phantom Menace, that had a very divisive response from the audience. You watch The Phantom Menace and you think Jar Jar is, kind of a new character in this trilogy. He's going to be a part of this story. And in the next 2 movies, Jar Jar disappeared to where he barely has a line in the 3rd movie of the prequel trilogy, Revenge of the Sith. Jar Jar's there as a glorified extra, even though he's a main co-star, co-lead in The Phantom Menace. And George Lucas did that a bit. He heard that The Phantom Menace was slow and kind of talky, so he kept throwing in so much action into Attack of the Clones. I think that's overreaction. I think if you look at Star Wars fans, they hated Ahsoka Tano when she was introduced in the animated Clone Wars movie. By the end of the show, they had kept developing her and keep showing her sides, and now Ahsoka is one of the most popular characters there is. I think they've got to have a great story, but I think there should be a season 2. You do have people who got frustrated with this show, but I think the audience still likes Boba Fett, and I think they still like Fennec Shand, and I still think they like the idea of all these criminals like Black K or the Hutt twins or anybody. So I think there should, and I would say that if you tell a better story or a cleaner story, then it could really blow up in the same way that Ahsoka Tano did with all Star Wars fans. Then the second part of the question, do you think there will be? Well, that's one thing that I mentioned George Lucas kind of backing away from things that weren't received, with 100% love. I think the new regime is being a bit like Lucas, where if something didn't go right in the sequel trilogy or the sequel films, they kind of push it away. Like they wanted to do a bunch of Star Wars stories movies. They released Rogue One. That did generally well reception-wise. Not the greatest, but did generally well. They released Solo, which at the time, it's tough to remember, reviews were really tough on Solo. It didn't make much money. And suddenly they said, yeah, we're going to do a bunch, all those other movies we were going to do as Star Wars story movies, including one about Obi-Wan, including one about Boba Fett. They just said, cancel them. We'll do Star Wars TV shows instead. So I think the fact that there has been some different opinions about this show, I don't think Disney will do it. I think Disney will say, okay, that didn't work. We need more Grogu. And so I don't think there will be a season 2. I think there should be if there's a good story. And I think it could be great. But right now, I don't think there will be.
Well, I mean, as you were saying earlier, talking about when they were able to get the reaction to Grogu, they didn't bother to wait for the reception for The Mandalorian Season 1 to go forward with Season 2, and we haven't heard anything about Boba Fett yet, and it is now over.
That is exactly right. I think that there were a couple of mitigating factors of Disney Plus needed content so desperately, even if The Mandalorian had come out and been a flop, just because you have a production up and running, it probably is good to just say, okay, go do Season 2. But we're in a different world now where they do have their Marvel shows going.
Right, they got Green Arrow.
There won't be any editing in this podcast. So, okay, hey, listeners, we've given you some things to think about. We want to know from you. This is a very specific question. Will there be a Season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett? Should there be a Season 2 of the Book of Boba Fett? We know this might be longer than a tweet. We know this might be longer than a simple Facebook post. But hey, send us a tweet thread. Give us all your thoughts at DoublePHQ, Facebook.com/DoublePHQ, YouTube. Leave those comments.
Well, Bubba, so I'll slightly change my answer. Should there be a Season 2? Only if it's Season 3.5 of Mandalorian.
Of The Mandalorian, right.
All right, so our next recurring and last for the Boba Fett Book of Boba Fett Season 1. We do our Mandolicious line of the episode. And, of course, we have 2 categories, badass and funny. So here we go, the badass. The first one is not badass, it's just bad. When Boba says to Cad, thought I smelled something.
Oh.
Groan.
Ouch.
But then Boba says, I don't negotiate with gutless murderers. That's a good one. Although Cad should have said, you mean yourself?
He doesn't. I don't negotiate with myself.
Mando says, we'll both die in the name of honor to Boba.
That's
and then
a good
I
line.
read
That's
it
a good
already,
line.
but the Major Domo reading Boba's terms says, if you refuse these terms, the arid sands of Tatooine will once again flourish with flowered fields fertilized with the
Triple
bodies
F.
of your dead. His words.
His words makes it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
And then Cad, the funny one is Cad, after saying, I don't negotiate with gutless murderers, Cad says, if that's not the quack to calling the stifling slimy. Once again, just one of those things where they just pile things on.
Hell yeah.
And then when Cad to the mayor says, well, when the mayor's talking about, all this trouble, he says, well, that all depends on how much your 2 stomachs can bear.
Ouch. Not nice, Cad. There's a reason why you were named Cad. Your parents knew. Your parents knew, Cad Bane, that you were going to be a Cad. Ooh, great options. I've given it to the Major Domo a bit too many times. So in this case, I'm actually going to go with If That's Not the Quatra Calling the Stifling Slimy by Cad Bane. Heck yeah, my Mandalicious line of the episode.
All right, well, then I'll give it to the Major Domo, because actually you get a 2 for 1. It's Boba's words and then Major Domo saying, his words.
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
giving it to that one. Oh, my goodness. Again, the last time for the Book of Boba Fett Season 1, we have Double M.
Double M?
Yeah, Matt Murdock's music analysis at Musical Concepts. Let's hear what he has to say for the final episode.
Lots of action in this final episode of the Book of Boba Fett, or this final chapter for this season. Will there be any more? I don't know. But because there's lots of action, we're going to talk about action music. We see a lot of situations where our heroes are in peril. How does the music accompany that? There are 3 key ways that the music can do that. One is in tempo or rhythm. Are the notes moving fast? That helps to raise our heart rate. Second, what does the harmony do? Does it create some kind of symmetry? Because we humans don't like our symmetry in our harmony. What kind of scales are used? Usually the half whole or the whole half, or something that if you took every other note, you'd get some kind of diminished chord, which is the chord that we hate most as humans. And 3, even though we like our harmony to be asymmetrical, we definitely like symmetry in our rhythm. So we use mixed meter to create tension. Let me go through each one of those by citing an example in this episode right around the 40-minute, 45-second mark, I think is where it begins, when the droid comes popping back out of the building and Boba and the Rancor are fighting it. as that battle ensues, we hear this motive. Now, one of the first things that you'll notice, I'll just start with the last thing that I mentioned, is that it is in mixed meter. If you just play a single phrase of that, which repeats over and over, but just a single phrase consists of 7 notes. Humans desire symmetry in their beats. Maybe because it's got a beat and you can dance to it. The old cliche, but it's been true for a long time. We like symmetry in our beats, and therefore, when something does not have that kind of symmetry, when it can't be divided by 2, such as a 7, actually it can be, but you don't feel that pulse in that way. You just feel like it's kind of skipping a note or something. It doesn't feel like it's falling in the right place every time when you play it in succession. It starts to feel off, and that helps raise the tension. Will Boba and the Rancor succeed? Another way that very simple motive also creates tension is through the speed of the notes. The notes are being played fast. They're not being played drawn out. They're not being played slow. They have separation, and they're being played fairly fast. A faster rhythm or a faster tempo naturally just makes our heart rate go up a little bit. It creates more tension within our own bodies, and therefore that's how it complements that tension that we're seeing on screen this time around. And finally, the harmony that is used is derived from a half whole scale. And if I start on any one of those notes in that scale, and I just skip every other note and play them at the same time, you always end up with a diminished chord. If I started on the first note of the scale, and then I go every other one, I get this chord. If I start on the second note of the scale, and then go every other one, they're both diminished chords. There's a symmetry to the scales. There's definitely a symmetry to the chords that they create from the scales. And unlike with rhythm, where we like our symmetry, we humans don't like having to divide our harmony into 2 for whatever reason, or by 4, or even by 6, or even by 1 in actuality. We like mixed numbers, like 3s, like 7s, like 5s, when we're talking about degree scales of harmony. So those are the 3 ways that Joe Shirley used a simple theme to create tension in multiple ways. Thanks for listening to my musical thoughts this season. I hope that you enjoyed them. I hope that you enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett. Back to Bubba and Catfish.
Thank you, Matt.
Matt, always so smart, always so wise. And we have more people who are smart and wise, and that's our double L's.
Double L's?
Loyal listeners. Catfish, we have a bunch of feedback, admittedly most of it because we record this episode so quickly after Chapter 7 has been released. Most of our feedback is about Chapter 6, but why don't you take us away and tell us what we've got?
All right, so we have Laura McMillian on Facebook says, oh my goodness, Cad F. Bane, my favorite Star Wars villain. Live action Cad Bane is absolutely terrifying.
Man.
Laura says, I love this episode of The Mandalorian. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. But wait, it's actually the Book of Boba Fett, so where's my man Boba? Oh, he only had a cameo on his own show. That drops the score 9 out of 10.
Ooh. Tough rating. Actually not. Still 9 out of 10 is pretty great.
9 out of 10.
That's pretty good.
Stephen Jones says, hi guys, loving the podcast as usual. Thank you, Stephen. All hail Dave Filoni after the last episode.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, Stephen.
And then we have some feedback on YouTube. Travis Drew said, I love the program. I have been listening to the podcast on Stitcher from the beginning. Now I realize that they're on YouTube. Even better. Keep up the great work. Both interesting and fun. I love learning about how the music is created. So that is out. That's one a vote for Double M.
Double M, great work. Thank you, Travis. On YouTube, Crystal also just wanted to drop in and say nice things. She said, hey, Bubba and Catfish, I appreciate the content. Take good care of yourselves. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Yeah.
I love it. And on Twitter, Chapter 6 feedback at Maru_Mara76 says, the Pykes are just giving folks on Tatooine lots of reason to rise up against them, I'd say. Wouldn't you say?
I'd say.
Also, so many iconic characters in one episode.
Yep. Chapter 6 was incredible. Talking about Chapter 6, our good friend Camille at Harley Camille on Twitter wrote, since Grogu could be Jedi and Mandalorian, could he wield the Darksaber?
Oh, hell yes.
She wrote, it seems a bit heavy for the little guy.
Yeah, use the Force.
She says, I want him to be with Mando, but he needs that Yoda lightsaber for sentimental reasons. Ooh.
Oh, man. Patman23, Pat Spinagle says, I'm voting on Boba Fett wielding the Darksaber. Din Djarin, fine.
Endless
Holy cow.
Mike at Endless Mike 03 on Twitter wrote, maybe in a few hundred years, Grogu will be able to yield the Darksaber.
Oh, nice. But you know what? In 100 years, Endless Mike still might have the T-shirt he won on tonight's episode.
Heck yeah.
Bubba, we do have some Chapter 7 feedback. How about that?
We do. It's great. Sheerman, who's at Sheerman360 on Twitter, they wrote, Chapter 7 was the most consistently amazing episode by far.
Huh.
They thought the first half of Episode 5 was peak, but then they felt that it wasn't as good once Mando left that Hollow Ring space station. So Sheerman says, Episode 7, the best one from start to finish. Thank you so much.
Well, and Tom Baxter at Ratchetoust, that's what I'm going to say it is.
Okay.
He says, new series, RoboCop.
RoboCop patrolling the streets, making sure they're clean.
Oh, hell yeah, so good. And Camille comes back again at Harley Camille. No spoilers, but the two taking a nap together. Heart emoji. Oh,
did you have a heart emoji for the Rancor and Grogu taking that little nap in the street?
Hell yeah, I just didn't want the Rancor to, like, roll over.
Of course. That would be tough. It snores and it accidentally snorts in Grogu into its grill.
Oh, man. And then we have Endless Mike again at Endless Mike 03 after the last two 10 out of 10s. This one left me a bit frozen in carbonite. Wanted to know that meant cold. Oh. One too many Deus Ex Grogus.
Oh, no.
And thousands too many blaster bolts into shields with no effect. 7 out of 10 triple Gs.
Wait, triple Gs?
Goodbye, Gamorrean Guards.
Oh, man. I didn't want to see them go, but the fact that, once again, that suddenly everybody was turning against Boba, that is a great moment. That was a moment that was built to. I wish the episode had built to more moments, but, in the end, I'll just say it again. I can't keep saying it. Get somebody riding a Rancor through town causing trouble. I'm going to give you my Siskel and Ebert thumbs up. It doesn't matter what else is going on.
Maybe the Gamorrean Guards are in the bacon tank. I mean, back to tank. No bacon tank.
How terrible.
They're being cured right now.
Hey, guys, once again, follow us on our social media because those podcasts we mentioned earlier, we're going to be tackling real quick. Just next month, we're going to be talking about The Last Kingdom Season 5. In May, we're going to be going into Obi-Wan Kenobi. So please follow us as best you can. You can follow me, Bubba, on Twitter at Fit and Trim. That's FITTENTRIM at Fit and Trim on Twitter.
And you can hit me up at CJGman67 on Twitter. And look for us soon on the Parsec Passion feed with all the great shows coming up and the return of the Joffrey podcast.
Oh, man.
But for now, we will talk to you later on
Parsec Passion Podcast. Hey, Grogu, I want to see the baby. I want to see the Rancor. I want to see Black K. Boba, apparently you're number 12. Yes, you're behind those stupid mods. I don't know why Catfish wrote.
No, the mods are 13.
Okay, thank God. Okay.